Welcome to part 4 of the MYSWIM podcast Africa series. We talked to Howard James about a swim that I've been intrigued by from a passing conversation that Howard and I had about 18 months ago, and it's Lake Malawi. It's in the middle of Africa. Howard, when he first described it to me, was it's proper Africa. It's logistically difficult to get to. It's got unique challenges. We talk through those. You can't get away from the risks involved, but you can minimise them, and there's no one better that I know to look after us. If ever you do choose to take on this swim, then Howard and his team, who put safety as their primary concern. So we explore what it takes, how to get involved, and how to get the most out of the trip. I'm really looking forward to this one, and I hope that you will too. This is part of a 4-part series of African swims with the MYSWIM podcast, and the others are Robben Island, False Bay, Lake Malawi, and Open Water Africa as a whole. If you enjoy this podcast and you're looking for more, go to www.myswim.com UK, where you'll find all the links to not just the African series but all of the MYSWIM podcasts and our work. Thank you, and welcome to the MYSWIM podcast. MYSWIM is every person's personal adventure in the water, whether it's learning to swim, wild swimming, channel swimming, winter swimming, another aquatic sport like water polo, synchronised swimming, triathlon, or something social with friends, the best kind. And everything in between, your happy place, your aquatic adventure, and together we can explore it. You all right, Howard? You back?
I'm back.
Yeah, back. So this is the one, I think the excitement in my voice, but this one really intrigued me, this one, Lake Malawi. It's, I know it's one of the big ones for Open Water Africa, but I think this swim on so many levels intrigues me. So, and has done from the first time we spoke. So I'm keen to get into it. So if we can get into it, then can you just give us an overview of the lake itself, by Lake Malawi, and why you chose it?
So Lake Malawi is it's a 23.5 kilometer swim from A to B at the narrowest part of the lake. The lake is like 54 kilometers in length. It's a massive body of water, eh? And the temperature ranges from like 24 degrees to 29 throughout the year. It never kind of really drops between 24. It can see swells of up to 6 meters at times of the year. So around July, when the winds pick up, it becomes a sea, an ocean, and that's when they hold a regatta there. It's full of fish. I think there's like 20 or 30,000 different species of fish. It's a paradise for nature. It's located in what I would say is reasonably untrodden part of the world, Eastern Africa, if one of the most poverty-stricken countries there are, especially in Africa, and if not globally. They have very many issues that they get over and overcome. And I mean, it's an adventure swim. Lewis Pugh and Otto Thanning were the first two to swim it back in 1992. Managed to reach out to Otto a couple of weeks ago. We went and sat with him and had breakfast, and they just said, like all of us, they sat down one day and said, "What swim should we go and do?" Um, and they said, "No one's done Malawi. Let's go to Malawi." So they pretty much just jumped on the plane, and they had no idea whether they would be able to, who was going to pilot it, but they just went on a whim, and they managed to pull it off. And so Lewis would have been about 18 or 19 then, I think. Okay. And because, I mean, Lake Malawi is bordered with Mozambique, Malawi. So, I mean, where we actually camp is on the border of Mozambique. It's pretty much, you might find half your tent is in Mozambique.
So that's what you do. So you get there, you get into Lilongwe, and it fly into Lilongwe. Then you stay at the hotel, Eagle's Nest, isn't it?
So this we give people an option of two that come recommended. Latitude 13 and another one called Kumbali Lodge.
I can Bali Lodge, that's what I was thinking of.
So Kumbali Lodge is where Madonna used to frequent because Madonna has adopted a few Malawians. I mean, and Federer is also a frequent visitor to Malawi. So I don't know. I wonder whether it's kind of not on the trodden path, and it's kind of maybe where the celebs go for peace and quiet for an Africa experience and go and visit the game reserves. But yeah, so you'd fly. You logistically you're flying to the long way. Um,
Uh-huh.
Malawi has two capitals, Lilongwe and Blantyre. Blantyre is like the business district. Lilongwe seems to be the easier one to fly into and more accessible route to Cape Maclear, which is about a three to 4 hour drive. And there's some places to stop, and you'll see some sights. You'll get an introduction to Malawi life into those 3 or 4 hours in the drive, and obviously you can stop and talk to the locals and stop for some food, stop for a drink. You know, the taxi driver who we arrange because we know that he's friendly and his cars are up to scratch and you know MOT'd if you like, but roadworthy, and keeps good time. He would meet you at the airport, and either take you to your accommodation for the evening if you don't want to do the trip in one big hit, depending on where you're flying in from. And then they'll come and pick you up the next day and make your way to Chembe, Eagle's Nest. Chembe Eagle's Nest is what I call the gateway to any Lake Malawi swim. This is where we store the boats. This is where we store the tents. This is where we do all the safety briefings and you go through your paperwork and read the rules to you to and make sure that you're adhering to marathon swimming rules and with us you swim with the World Open Water Swimming Association. Now when we started kind of facilitating Lake Malawi, my main concern was that if someone is doing the Stillwater 8 and they've completed them and there was an issue with the Malawi side's documentation that meant for whatever reason that they weren't allowed to have said no, you didn't swim Malawi correctly or to the rules, that would have been a nightmare. So contacted uh, World Open Water Swimming Association and said, listen, um, I've observed many English Channel swims. Esme has observed many English Channel swims. We are sticklers for the rules. I am a swimmer or have been a swimmer in the past. I understand that documentation is required and it has to be presented in the correct form. So we work with them. Open Water Africa document it and ratify it, and Wowser just go over it and say that's fine. So it just gives us a little bit of integrity that you know, and hopefully in 2 or 3 years we will have built up a reputation that our documentation is good enough to be solely represented. Um, yeah, so there's the formalities. You would arrive at Eagle's Nest under the hosts of Aubrey and Nita, who have been in Malawi many years. Safety checks will be done. You'll meet the pilot, Walter, and just relax on the lakeside, watch a great sunset, have some food. Then we tend to give a 5 day window from arrival to departure. Obviously, you can extend that to suit your budget or your time off work or whatever. And we try and give like a 3 day window for the swim. As a rule, we can swim on any of those 3 days, but we look at the forecast and we'll try and pick we will pick the best day, and it's usually wind related. So we'll pick the day that's less wind. In one case last year, there was a swimmer that decided or chose out of 2 days. One was a really hot day, and the second day wasn't so hot, but it was windy. And he was very concerned about the heat, so he chose to go on the windy day, and he was successful. But it did have a slog at times. I would say, the first 4 or 5 hours was, not unswimmable, but needed focus. And that's what's great about the swim is that it's not a straightforward or easy swim. It is in a lake, but there are variants that can you know push you slightly off course or make you think, oh shit, I've really got to put my head down and focus on this one. Um, and sooner or later through the swim, it does calm down and it's idyllic, and then you'll find yourself in the middle of the lake. And I've put some slides up of you can see how vast the lake is. You can't see anything. I mean, like any marathon swim, but it's just kind of you've been dropped into this lake in Africa, and you don't. If you didn't have a boat, you certainly wouldn't know which direction you were going to go. And the day before or the night before, so safety checks would be done. If you arrived on a Monday in Chembe, you'd relax. Safety checks would probably be done on the Tuesday, and we may swim on the Wednesday. And that Tuesday afternoon, about 2 o'clock, we'd make our way, that 2 hour and a half boat ride to the start location, and we'll set up camp right on the lake's edge, 2 or 3 tents, a toilet, make a fire, and you just relax. You can see you're finishing landing zone kind of in the distance, the mountain, and the locals, children will come and see what you're up to and be intrigued. They'll probably teach you some words, and you can teach them some words, and probably try to steal your shoes, or a little bit of fun and banter. When we go camping, we're visiting the locals, their kind of area, their town, where they live, village. So we always buy our firewood from them, and try and give something back, and they tell
That's
us
nice.
if
Yeah.
anything's if any wildlife has been patrolling the area, or they kind of scratch your back when we scratch your back. They're our eyes and
Yeah, yeah,
ears.
yeah.
And then you'll camp there for the night, wake up maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, and we try to generally start the swim around sunrise, just before. So it's usually between 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning that we put you in the water, and yeah, you'll swim to safety, if you like, to the main town. This is quite an empty area where it's not going on much is going on, and to get there by car or vehicle is quite hard. I should think it's more hard in the rainy season as well, because roads get flooded. And yeah, we have one rib now with two 85 horsepower engines, and we will put two, certainly no more than three swimmers in the water at any given time. Um, but if a tandem swim or a triple swim, open water Africa don't put the swimmers together. If you want to swim with your buddy, that's absolutely fine, but you will agree that you swim at the same strength, um, you feed at the same time, and yes, if one of you decides that they don't want to carry on, they can get out on the boat and relax. But obviously, if there's a safety issue or a health issue and they need attention, then the swim gets aborted and we head straight to the finish line, or to the closest um, medical assistance, uh, what we feel would be required. Like any swim, yeah, keep an eye on hydration, and swimmers. This is a key factor because of dehydration. Um, you need to take the fluids in. You need to urinate. And we need to know.
Just on that one then, getting hold of so rehydration. I mean, do you suggest people bring whatever their go-to hydration is with them? Because it's obviously, I assume, there's not a random sports shop that you can go to and get some GP or
No.
something. So if you go down that route, or is it a sort of swim you could do just off of water hydration?
I think you could, but you could. Yes and no. It depends. It depends who you are, doesn't it? It probably doesn't. What doesn't help hurt to bring a small carb loader or gels if that's what you use, just to give you energy. I think when the wheels do fall off, if you don't have something, you're a bit naive because fatigue does set in. Um,
It may be easier then to have the combo of gels and water, because then you got your
yeah,
water, and then, as you say, you're taking your gels and you can wash them down with
and
the amount of water you need.
and making sure that you have water is the key
Yeah,
on this one. I mean, one swimmer last year was actually putting ice on their head as well,
really.
because they were just concerned
Yeah,
or aware. They just did. It was very aware of the heat.
yeah,
I think on that day it was about 33, but remember 33 in Africa is. I mean, it's 33 anywhere is reasonably hot, but it seems to be hotter when you're over here. And then no
yeah,
breeze. And it's up to you whether you when you bring your support crew or not. We can throw you a drink, um, and have a chat and try and establish when you're not really feeling it. But obviously, it does help if you have someone that knows your mood um, and knows if you're quiet. I know I'll be right in 20 minutes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Or when you're really grumpy or really had enough. I mean, if you don't have your crew and you say you want to get out, we're going to say, okay, you must get out. But if your buddy is there, your support crew, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Just keep pushing. But as long as we don't go into, I mean, I think, like I said, as the sport evolves again now, the swimmer is going to have to be very careful soon that when they say they want to get out, they're going to have to be pulled out because we're all getting a little bit scared of people pushing the boundaries too far. Um, and I've said it before, oh, I want to get out, and it kind of gets ignored, but I don't really mean it. But but I mean, this swim is different. Yeah, we give you your tired window, but it's a little bit more. It's an adventure because you're off the main road. You're off the B roads. You're almost in the sand.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, that's the bit that I'm really excited about on this swim is, as you say, it is different. There's so many bits to this swim that I've certainly not experienced or seen on other swims. As you say, the logistics is far more complex than others, and the fact that you
Mm.
found a way through that, brilliant. That's helping swimmers get to the swim, and then the other bits that we haven't talked about, as you say, the safety checks within that. We love talking about the wildlife in the water because we're going into their environment. You got some unique wildlife, not just the lovely fish and things you got in there, but there's potential in there for crocodiles and hippos.
Yeah, Lake Malawi seems to be a well-known home for these wonderful creatures. Um, and any swimmer, any individual that comes to Malawi to swim, it won't be too hard if they really want to go and see these great animals to find them. That doesn't mean they're going to come and steal your apple off your nightstool while you're sleeping. But yeah, but like any swim, they are present, but we're not going to start you on a swim if we know there's activity. We do have to kind of remember that hippos don't really like being out of their depth and they like to wallow. We don't camp where we know they camp 2 minutes away. You might hear them bark in the distance. You possibly will hear them bark in the distance. And that's where the locals come in as well. They say, "Oh no, they're over there. They're fine." Um, of course, we were aware, and we're never going to put anyone at risk. But that's what makes this swim the swim, isn't it? It's
It
it's
does.
it's got
It does.
it's in East Africa. It's in 29 degrees water with 30 degrees ambient. It is home to hippopotamus and crocodiles. Um, you
It's
know,
so exciting. Such an
it's
exciting
it's
swim.
it's an adventure. I mean, you can say this is Africa. It's an African swim.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lake swim, which makes it different from getting the buoyancy of sea swims as well. So you got all of that to go with. So you're doing the distance properly, as you say. The culture and the community that you added there as well. With the community around by the where you spend your first night. That's a nice touch as well, just to be able to understand that you're understanding where you're swimming from and the people, and then you're off on your little world of a challenge, and but you've immersed yourself in the countries, which is great.
It will be looked after from the minute you arrive and you get off the plane. You are under our umbrella, and we know exactly where you are once you're in the transfer from the airport to your accommodation. We know exactly where you are for the entirety of that journey. Um, if something was to happen, even if, a puncture or a breakdown, we know where you are. We can get help. It might take a little bit longer than 10 minutes, but we can get help. Um, it's a very warm welcome. The team are extremely friendly and know their stuff. You know, from the first meetings we've had and put this swim together and almost, the first one, it's just worked. Everyone has their job or their specific roles, and we all stay in our lane, and it just works. I think every swimmer we've had has not been able to say a negative, or has not relayed the negative. Everything, or the positive has outweighed the negative so much that the negative just becomes not even worthy. And that's great. That you can facilitate something and people are getting the benefit out of it. And it's a bit of a cliche. That's what you want, but that is what you want. If you put your name to something, you want to do it to the best of your ability, and most marathon swim organisations do it to the best of their ability.
Yeah, I'll vouch for that. I'll vouch for that. I mean, it's got so much, and it's one of those ones that I don't know. That I've mentioned it before when we spoke. The excitement just from few components you were telling us about the location, how you get there, how you get across from the moment we first spoke, I don't know, many months ago, and yeah, it was definitely one that I don't think I've been excited by a swim like that one or interested in a swim like that one for a long time. I mean, I like the Sea of Galilee because that was slightly different in a different location, and I liked,
Yeah,
I don't know, Gibraltar Strait because you're swimming into Africa, from somewhere like that. But this one's got so many different parts. I think if ever you class an adventure swim, this is ticks all those boxes, isn't it? It's one of those.
yeah. It just meets the criteria and ticks the boxes, and the reception it's received in the inquiries I received to swim it have been more than I thought. I thought it would be very extremely slow, but we do get lots of inquiries. It doesn't mean everyone's booking in, but I mean we've already taken on someone for October 2026 now. People are planning and actually put it on their map.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned it because what are the windows? Because there's only limited time because of the conditions, isn't there, that you can realistically run the
You
event?
tend to put tide windows, if you like, together for May and October. When we start to get into November, the rain is coming, and if it comes early, it just makes everything a little bit harder. The roads become clogged, and the wind picks up. And then after May, so June, July, as we spoke earlier, the winds pick up, and that's when it just becomes impossible to swim on some days. Um, it seems, I mean, Otto and Lewis swam in January, but with that comes other issues. It's height of malaria. It's on the back end of the rainy season. So May and October seem to work. They work for the team, and they work around the elements.
What sort of vaccinations, just to add another bit to it, what sort of vaccinations would people need to go there? Any? None? Done?
Malaria is not mandatory, but it would be up to the individual whether they wanted. If you transition in certain countries on your way to Malawi for longer than, I think, a period of 12 hours. Say, for instance, if you stop over in Kenya for longer than 12 hours,
Right.
you would need a yellow fever jab to enter Malawi because even though you wouldn't have left the airport,
Hmm.
they're the rules. So I would say if you are able to avoid transitioning through those countries, have yellow fever, that would mean you have to get vaccinated. There are ways around it. I think if you go to Ethiopia, you're okay. It's just a couple of countries where it's yellow fever. Uh, Visas, UK are fine for visas. I think that when we first started, there were a lot more countries that required visas to enter Malawi. They've opened it up a little bit more over the last year. So you would still always need to check whether you do require a visa. A visa is extremely easy to get. You go online, you pay $50, and it's with you in 2 or 3 days, and it's lasts for 3 months when you enter the country. But, for UK citizens, there's no visa required. And Bilzaria, Bilzaria is a little mite that gets into your bloodstream, into your system, and can cause headaches, fever, nausea, just you know, not a nice feeling. And it's generally picked up in populated areas if you go into the water or where there's reeds. We generally don't take you anywhere where there's any reeds. There are a few reeds at the start of the swim, but you'll soon pass them. So when you get back home, and this is in the paperwork information that we send out, we get in contact with you about 4 or 5 weeks after you've arrived back from your origin, and we'll say, thank you for swimming with us. I hope you're well. It's probably now time to make a visit to your GP or your medical centre just to have a blood test or get some tests done. And it's if you have got it, a course of antibiotics, and it's done. The team will tell you that Walter and Aubrey, who've lived in Malawi for many years, have all had it or received it and dealt with it extremely easy. So there's nothing to worry about, but we will give you a reminder to go and get yourself checked, and it's fine.
Well, that training.
Training. I mean, personally, you've got to go and visit the lake. You've got to know about the how you adapt in fresh water. If you're a saltwater junkie, your lower back is gonna ache the next day after a long ultra marathon lake swim for sure. Um, yeah, I remember Zurich for me. My back was in pieces. Um, and the temperature. I don't quite know how you do train for that, depending on where you're located. Um, it's all very nice if we come from the UK and say, "Oh, a lovely warm swim," but be careful what you wish for.
The interesting thing about it, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, is because it's October or May, your training either is in cold So you've got to find somewhere warm or outside, leading you up to May, or the other way round. You've had a lovely summer of training and everything's good, but then you've got to keep that ticking over for into the October time. So that's, again, another added little challenge for it all, isn't it? Could be on a taper, I suppose, by
Yeah, I
then.
think October is a great way to finish the season off. Um, Will Smith, Will Smith, last year or 2023, he swam his English Channel in September, and in October he came to Malawi, and he was super. I mean, that was great training for him because he would have swam in reasonably warm 17, 18 in the English Channel in around September. He would have been swim fit, had a nice little break from his English Channel and his success, and then probably just 2 weeks before jumped in and done some training and then Malawi. But yeah, you're right. May, depending on where you're located, May could cause some issues. Um, there was a lady, Sam Kruger from the Eastern Cape. She swims in warm water up there. So she was actually fine. Her water temperature is 22s, 23s most of the year. So she was fine. And it's funny that one guy from Turkey, who you'd think would be very acclimatized to warm water and warm ambient temperatures, actually didn't really like the heat, struggled with it. So we've all got to find what works for us, eh?
Yeah.
Or you just get in and do it. I mean, that's the gung ho way.
Well, if you're doing everything else that way, this one, yeah. Any advice you'd give anyone who's going for it? Your final bit of advice?
I don't know about advice, but I would kind of like to assure anyone that if Malawi has made it onto their list or caught their eye, that if you do come through us to do it, you'll be looked after from start to finish. We will make it an adventure. There'll be everything that you want in a holiday to or a break to Malawi, and it will be educational in the fact that you will be visiting somewhere that you wouldn't necessarily choose to visit, for the family holiday or the city break. It's not necessarily on the top of everyone's list, but I think once you do come and you do visit, you would tell everyone that actually maybe you should put it on your list. Not necessarily to swim, but just to go and get some Malawian African culture around the lake.
That's brilliant. And I know that it'll be a fantastic swim for those that choose to do it. It certainly gets my thought process going for something like this. It's I know that you'll put on a fantastic service and your team will be top notch because that's how you do things. So thanks for your time on this one on Lake Malawi.
No, thanks for having me.
We'll put all your details and everything, all the contact stuff at the bottom of the show notes so anyone can pick it up and get in contact and find out more about this proper adventure swim in the middle of Africa. Thank you. That is such an exciting swim. I know it can sound a bit scary with the hippos, the crocodiles, etc. involved, but look, how often do we ever get a chance to take on a swim in the middle of Africa in its rawest form, but also with the knowledge that you're well looked after by Howard and his team, the Open Water Swim Africa. It just looks like a beautiful swim, to the extent that I'm going to take it on myself. I've been thinking about a swim that is different from all the other ones I've done. I've done the lake ones, I've done ones in Middle East, America, sea swims, cross-channel swims, multiple areas. But one in a freshwater lake with these challenges, logistically as well as obviously the potential for wildlife, etc. It just, I suppose the simple way to say it just excites. It's such a nice feeling to have that. So, hey look, as I'm broadcasting this at the moment, I don't know the outcome, but please come along the journey and there'll be a a podcast, whether I achieve it or not, from my own personal experience of Lake Malawi, so I can bring it to you, and hopefully it will inspire you to take on something that you're going to get a chance to do probably more than once in your life. So yeah, let's see how we get on. If you're interested in not just this swim but also the others in the African series that we have, or even any of the other MYSWIM adventures that I've had the fortune to talk to people about or give you my experience on, then go to www.myswim.uk and there'll be all the links to the podcasts, the artwork. So please enjoy, and I hope that they inspire you to one day find your own individual MYSWIM. To capture the joy of each individual MYSWIM, we have an exclusive bright, fun MYSWIM podcast themed artwork design. If you enjoy the podcast and the guests, we'd appreciate your support to keep these podcasts going, to help spread the knowledge to a wider community. And please check out the designs on www.myswim.uk. Let us know what you want to hear about, and together let's build the community. We really want to positively celebrate and promote all aspects of aquatics, and particularly the mental health benefits that swimming can bring, and we'd love you to be a part of it. Join the community, give us your feedback, follow, and tell us all about your individual MYSWIM.